Texas. The very name evokes images of wide-open spaces, endless blue skies, and a spirit of boundless opportunity. For generations, this land of rugged individualism and entrepreneurial zeal has beckoned dreamers and strivers from all corners of the globe. Its booming economy, fueled by oil and innovation, promised a brighter future for those seeking a better life. The heart of Texas, big and bold, pulsed with a vibrant culture, a rich tapestry woven from cowboy boots and country music, rodeos and Friday night lights. But in 2025, a shadow falls across the Lone Star State. The Texas we once knew, the land of boundless opportunity and unwavering optimism, seems to be grappling with unprecedented challenges. The very foundations that once seemed unshakable, its economy, its social fabric, its very environment, are showing signs of strain. The dream, it seems, is starting to fray at the edges. The stories emerging from Texas paint a picture of a state in flux, struggling to reconcile its identity with the realities of a rapidly changing world. The challenges are real, and the stakes are high. The question is, can Texas rise to the occasion and reclaim its mantle as a beacon of hope and prosperity? One of the most troubling trends in Texas is the rise in crime rates, particularly in its major cities. Over the past few years, statistics have shown a steady increase in violent crimes, including assaults, robberies, and homicides. This alarming trend has not only affected the lives of the victims, but has also instilled a sense of fear and insecurity among the residents. Once considered safe havens, urban centers like Dallas, Houston, and Austin are now grappling with increasing incidents of violent crime and property theft. The once bustling streets and vibrant communities are now overshadowed by the constant threat of criminal activities, forcing businesses to close early, and residents to stay indoors after dark. This surge in lawlessness has left many Texans feeling vulnerable and questioning the efficacy of their local law enforcement. Community meetings are filled with concerned citizens demanding more police presence and better protection, while neighborhood watch programs are seeing a resurgence as residents take matters into their own hands. Adding fuel to the fire are deep political divisions that have cleaved the state along ideological lines. These divisions are not just limited to political debates, but have spilled over into everyday interactions, creating a palpable tension in communities. The once dominant Republican Party is now a battleground between moderate and far-right factions, each vying for control of the state's future. This internal conflict has led to a lack of cohesive policymaking, with each faction pushing its own agenda, often at the expense of the common good. This internal struggle has led to legislative gridlock and political instability, further eroding public trust in government institutions. The inability to pass meaningful legislation has left many issues unaddressed, exacerbating the problems faced by the state. The political climate in Texas is increasingly polarized, fueled by heated rhetoric and misinformation. Social media platforms have become battlegrounds for ideological wars, with each side accusing the other of spreading falsehoods and undermining the state's values. This division seeps into everyday life, straining relationships and making civil discourse a distant memory. Neighbors who once shared friendly conversations now avoid each other, wary of sparking a political argument. Neighbors who once shared barbecues and football games now view each other with suspicion and distrust. Community events that used to bring people together are now marked by visible divides, with people clustering in like-minded groups. The rise in crime and the deepening political divide are symptoms of a larger malaise afflicting Texas. These issues are not isolated but are interconnected, each feeding into the other and creating a cycle of fear and division. They point to a breakdown in social cohesion, a fraying of the bonds that once held communities together. The sense of unity and shared purpose that once characterized Texan communities is now being replaced by isolation and mistrust. As Texans become more isolated and distrustful of each other, the state's social fabric weakens, leaving it vulnerable to further turmoil and despair. The challenge now is to find ways to rebuild trust and restore a sense of community before it's too late. The economic engine that once powered the Texas miracle is sputtering. Once a beacon of prosperity and growth, Texas is now grappling with significant economic challenges that are affecting every corner of the state. While the state's economy continues to grow, it is doing so at a slower pace than in previous years. The once bustling streets and highways now tell a different story, one of cautious movement and uncertainty. The cost of living, meanwhile, has skyrocketed, outpacing wage growth and leaving many Texans struggling to make ends meet. Grocery stores, once filled with shoppers, now see families carefully counting their pennies, worried about the next meal. Housing, in particular, has become increasingly unaffordable, especially in the state's booming urban centers. New constructions rise, but so do the prices, making it difficult for average families to secure a home. Families are being priced out of their homes, forced to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. The sight of moving trucks and foreclosure signs has become all too common. The American dream, once seemingly within reach for so many Texans, is now slipping further and further away. The hope of homeownership is fading, replaced by the harsh reality of economic displacement. The rising cost of healthcare is another major concern for Texans. Access to quality medical care is becoming a luxury that fewer and fewer can afford. Many families are forced to make difficult choices, delaying necessary medical care due to the exorbitant costs. The burden of medical bills adds to the growing financial strain. The lack of affordable healthcare options is pushing many Texans into a cycle of debt and despair, further exacerbating the economic divide. The dream of financial stability seems more distant than ever. The economic anxieties plaguing Texas are a far cry from the boom times of the recent past. Once thriving businesses now stand empty, and the vibrancy of the state's economic centers has dimmed. The state that once promised limitless opportunity now seems to be characterized by a widening gap between the haves and have-nots. The stark contrast between wealth and poverty is more visible than ever. For many Texans, the economic reality is one of stagnant wages, rising costs, and a growing sense of insecurity about the future. The promise of a better tomorrow feels increasingly out of reach as they navigate these challenging times. The Lone Star State, once teeming with natural abundance, is now facing the harsh realities of climate change. The vibrant landscapes that once defined Texas are now marred by the relentless grip of drought. Prolonged droughts have become a recurring nightmare, turning fertile farmlands into barren wastelands. Depleting reservoirs and parching the land, these droughts are a stark reminder of the changing climate. Rivers that once flowed strong are now reduced to trickles, their beds cracked and dry, a testament to the severity of the water crisis. The once thriving ecosystems that depended on these water sources are now struggling to survive. This water scarcity has far-reaching consequences, impacting not only agriculture but also the daily lives of millions of Texans. Farmers are finding it increasingly difficult to sustain their crops and livestock. The ripple effects extend to urban areas, where residents face water restrictions and the constant challenge of conserving every drop. Water restrictions are becoming increasingly common, forcing families to adopt stringent water-saving measures. From collecting rainwater to using water-saving techniques, Texans are adapting to a new way of life. The competition for this precious resource is intensifying, pitting cities against rural communities in a battle for survival. Urban areas with their growing populations demand more water, often at the expense of rural communities that rely on the same sources. This competition has even led to conflicts among neighbors, each vying for their share of the dwindling resource. The impacts of climate change are not limited to water scarcity. Extreme weather events, once considered anomalies, are becoming more frequent and severe. Hurricanes, with their devastating force, batter the coast with increasing ferocity. Flooding streets and displacing thousands, these storms leave a trail of destruction in their wake. Hurricanes batter the coast with increasing ferocity, while inland areas are ravaged by wildfires fueled by tinder-dry conditions. These wildfires, driven by dry conditions, spread rapidly, destroying homes and habitats. These disasters displace families, destroy businesses, and strain the state's resources, making recovery a long and arduous process. The changing climate is a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world and the urgent need for sustainable solutions. The effects of climate change are felt across all sectors, from agriculture to urban planning. Texans are increasingly turning to sustainable farming practices and renewable energy sources to combat these challenges. Texans are facing a future where access to clean water and protection from extreme weather can no longer be taken for granted. Innovative water purification efforts are being implemented to ensure safe drinking water. Communities are also investing in disaster preparedness activities to protect homes and lives from the increasing threat of extreme weather. The challenge lies in finding ways to adapt to these new realities while mitigating further environmental damage. Innovative water-saving techniques and adaptive farming methods are crucial in this fight. Efforts to combat climate change and restore the environment are ongoing, but the road ahead is long. Texans must continue to innovate and adapt to ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. As Texans look ahead, many are grappling with uncertainty. Economic shifts, environmental challenges, and social changes all loom large on the horizon. It's a time of both anxiety and hope, as communities come together to navigate an unpredictable future. How will they adapt and thrive in the face of such challenges? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: the spirit of resilience runs deep in the heart of Texas. So why are Texans leaving? Well, it's a combination of factors, really. Rising housing costs, economic shifts, and even changing climate conditions are pushing people to seek new opportunities elsewhere. Some are looking for more affordable living options, while others are chasing job prospects in other states. It's a complex issue with no single cause. Now, can Texas overcome these challenges? Yes, but it will require a multifaceted approach. Addressing the housing crisis, investing in sustainable infrastructure, and creating a more diversified economy are just a few of the steps that need to be taken. It's not going to be easy, but with the right policies and community efforts, it's certainly possible. Building a better tomorrow for Texas means looking at the long term. It involves planning for sustainable growth, fostering innovation, and ensuring that all Texans have access to the resources they need to thrive. Education, healthcare, and environmental stewardship will play crucial roles in this journey. It's about creating a future where everyone can succeed. So what lies ahead for the Lone Star State? The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: Texas has the potential to adapt and grow. By addressing its current challenges head-on and embracing change, Texas can continue to be a land of opportunity and promise. The road ahead might be tough, but the spirit of Texas is resilient and strong.